This is a lecture from Open Tuition. For the free lecture notes that go with this podcast, please visit opentuition.com.
Okay, I appreciate there's one more thing in the chapter which is completely separate and is a very tiny thing and very quick. I'll deal with that after. But before I do, much more important is regression and correlation, and high-low for that matter. So can you turn to the test on page 61, please? And because there is one other thing I need to look at, however brief, could you have a go at the following questions? Question 1, 2, 5, 6 and 7. So just those. Ignore 3 and 4 for the moment. But 1, 2, 5, 6 and 7, where they're all old exam ones, you've got an example of most of the different things you can ask. As fast as you can. We'll have a chat after. Alright, can we have a chat? Sorry rushing you. Some of you have finished them. I think that we're all nearly there. So if you haven't quite finished them, finish them with me. Hello? But look at them and learn from them as far as you need. Question 1. I think 2 of us fell into the little trap. Regression analysis is being used to find the line of best fit. What's the value of A? Well, because he gave you all that information, even if you did spot it, you can understand why, certainly in the middle of an exam, a lot of people wasted a lot of time doing effectively what we did in my example, working out B and then working out A. Whereas, and of course he left it till the end hoping that would happen, you are given B. Those of you who did go ahead and work out B, well, it was fascinating and I think he got it right, but it was wasting time. The correct answer is 2.33. All you needed was the formula for A. And of course A is much the quicker and easier of the two formulae. But one way or another, I think we all ended up getting that right. Okay? But I say, those of you who fell into the trap of working out B, hit yourself and don't do that again. It's good practice outside the exam. It's wasting time in the exam. Number 2 is astonishingly generous, and it's really only worth 1 mark. But even so, which of the following is not a reasonable? Which of the following is not a reasonable value? Anybody? A. I mean, I said, you haven't had time to learn, I realise, but even so, it must lie between +1 and -1. B, C and D are all possible. A is not possible. I said jump 3 and 4, so jump to 5. Here, I think the main problem is, as much as anything, the time it takes to read. And this often happens. A is sort of, possibly, there's a weak relationship. However, I hope I made the point before, just as you can't really say that a coefficient of correlation of 0.97 in hours is very good, if a bad sort of thing. Similarly, with a coefficient of correlation of 0.85, it really depends how many you'd looked at as to how good or bad it is, you know. So A is tempting, but it's not A. B, no, because, without wasting your time, B and C have exactly the same wording. And look back, is not that wording effectively the same as the wording I gave for the coefficient of determination? Alright? Already? Yes, yeah. It's effectively the wording for coefficient of determination. Well, if the coefficient of correlation is 0.85, the coefficient of determination, square it, is 0.72, and 72% of the variation. The answer is C. D, I'm not going to read, but if anybody either didn't understand D or didn't realise why it was wrong, obviously ask me. But again, does that make sense? It wasn't a test, so I'm not going to ask who got that right and who wrong. But we're all clear. Over the page, question 6. Now, in fact, by the time of the exam, question 6, you should have been able to write the answer almost straight down. Because although I'll do it in full here, however quick you are, there is this time pressure. But the point is, you see, you've got two periods there. You've got the deliveries and the costs. It could be represented by, well, A. Well, quite frankly, I'll do the full thing in 1 second, but it's very easy to check A immediately. Because if A is right, the cost in each case is 10.6 times those deliveries. Yeah? Well, if it only takes me 2 seconds to check. The first one, 840 deliveries, multiply by 10.6, and I get 8904. Well, that's nothing like 9680. So A cannot be right. Do you agree? What about B? 11.52. Well, as I'm not surprised, 840 times 11.52, that does virtually work. I get 9677. That is about 9680. So B does work for the first one. But for the second one, 930 deliveries times 1152 is 10, is 10713. Its mass is different. You'll see where I'm going here. It only takes a second to check. It's certainly not A and B. It's actually C or D, because it is semi-variable. But without doing any arithmetic at all, is it C or is it D? Surely it must be D, without doing any arithmetic, because since I already know it's semi-variable, here, more deliveries meant more cost. It has to be 8,000 plus something, not 8,000 minus something. So I hope you see the point I'm making. But alright, I will do it properly, it only takes a second. But be alert, I mean, it can't possibly be C. If we're understanding. However, it only takes me 1 second. The high one, deliveries, it's high-low obviously. Deliveries 930, the cost 9860. The low one, 840 and 9680. The difference, 0.8. 180 extra cost for 90 extra deliveries. And so the variable cost, the cost per delivery. $180 over 90. Did we all get there? $2? And of course, again, do that by all means, but then it should be automatically D. However, since I've got that far, the fixed cost, if I take the high one, the total cost is 9860 rather. The total variable, 930 at $2 each, is 1860. And therefore the fixed is 8,000. Okay? Are we all happy there? Finally, number 7. Now, number 7, check with me, make sure you got right and learn from it, because trick's the wrong word, but he was testing something which I had said, but I don't know if you picked up on. And he's recorded the following costs over the last 6 months, and it specifically says to use the high-low method. So although, of course, in real life you may well have chosen to use regression, here it was specifically high-low. And so we've just checked, and I hope we all know how to actually do high-low. But the one thing is making sure you've picked the right months. I did say, and if you didn't notice me saying, and therefore you got this wrong, you pick the highest and lowest in terms of level of activity. By level of activity, I mean number of units produced. So in terms of number of units, which is the highest month, please? The highest month in terms of number of units is month 1. The units were, what, 3,000? The cost was 74,000. However, it's the lowest one that matters. Which is the lowest month, please? It's month 5. In terms of numbers of units, the activity, month 5 is the lowest month. At 1.5, and the cost was 69.5. Now, in fact, I think I said it the wrong way round. Sorry, no, what I've written down is right. I'm sorry. But in fact, it wasn't low that was the problem, it was high. In that, high, I hope everybody's clear, I've based it on the highest number of units. You see, month 4 had a higher cost. But for high-low, it's always on the level of activity, the number of units produced. Hello? So if anybody did do high-low based on cost, in fact, you'd get one of the other answers. But make sure you are clear. It's always based on activity, production, the high-low. And then, of course, I don't think the arithmetic for any of you is a problem. 1.5 extra units, the costs went up by 4.5. So the variable cost per unit is $3. And although, again, I'll finish it, the answers available, there's only one possible answer, which is B, in the exam. There's no point carrying on and checking the other figure. If I do check the other figure, if you look at the high one, the total cost is 74. The total variable cost, 3 units at $3 is 9. I know they're all in thousands, but doesn't really matter here. Therefore, the fixed cost is what? 65,000. The answer is B. Okay? However, I think you're all happy with the actual arithmetic. And do practice, even though I'm saying in the exam here, you didn't need to finish the whole thing. Make sure, obviously, you can. It could be necessary. But more importantly for this one, have I made it clear to everybody why we've picked months 1 and 5? I say again, if you did pick the month with the highest cost, I can't remember which answer it gave, but it was one of the answers. But I hope you're clear why it's wrong.